Okay, we are live. I hope my audio is working. Usually I'm on a stream with other people to tell me when it's working. I'll just hop into YouTube and double check that. If you're already here, hello, nice to have you. I'm going to be very awkward for the first few minutes as I kind of warm up because I usually don't live stream on my own. So bear with me and my awkward self here. Okay, video says it's live. I need to see. Okay, I can hear me. I can hear me in my monotone voice. It's fine. We're fine. Cool. All right. So I'm not going to officially start for a few more minutes since I wasn't scheduled to start till 7. I just wanted to make sure things were working here. Feel free to drop comments below or to the side, wherever they are for you. If you have any more questions, I did get quite a few, at least more than last time, on Facebook and a different live stream. So I'll be starting with those and we'll see how this goes. I don't have a time plan, but I might, after I finish the whole Q&A part, we might do some sprints or something. So yeah, got a couple minutes yet. And while I'm waiting, what should I do, Pups? I should have just started on time. You can see I totally planned all this. I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, should have started on time. So I'm going to distract you guys by leaving a picture up for like 2 minutes. The struggle is real. We'll do that. We shall share that for 2 minutes. We are here. Just gonna share that and stop talking. Just gonna share it and stop talking. Oh, but I'm still here. Fantastic. Cool. Actually, sure. I shouldn't be talking, but I'm going to keep talking. What we have here is actually the world map that I created. And Atreyu wants to say hi, if you can hear him squeaking. Yes, they know you're here. I'm literally about to start. Don't start crying. You were taking a nap. Puppy life. Okay. Really, though, I gotta start, bud. Do you want to be in the Q&A? Huh? Do you want to interview me? It'd be so much easier if you asked the questions. I know, you just want to know when things are going to happen outside. I know, I'll just pet you here. All right. So this is the world map for the world that we will be learning about today, as well as, obviously, Tower of Dogs. I should probably put up that cover. Okay, change this one. Stop sharing that. And share that. I know, baby, I know. I literally told you I was doing this. I told you. Can I do it this way? No, I can't. Shoot. I don't know what I'm doing. Go back. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it that way. That's cool. Alrighty, it is officially 7 o'clock, so I can stop floundering here like I don't know what I'm doing. If you have just come to the stream, welcome. My name is Halla. I publish under the name H.H. Miller, and my debut has released today, January 11th, 2022, 01112022. And that is Tower of Dogs. You can see the cover on the screen here. I also have a physical hardcover copy with me, but we're going to start with the cover on screen here since I'm probably not very entertaining to look at. So, quick background. I consider myself an author and illustrator. Through part of high school and all of college, I was actually self-publishing my own manga series. I did 2 different series and a standalone, but I did that for 8 years. And now I have a puppy who needs my attention. Shush, baby. Baby, live stream. I can't edit this out. He's just giving me such puppy dog eyes. Hello, Billy Bandit. Welcome. I'm doing my best here, but the puppies are not napping anymore. Gosh, brain fart. What was I doing? Oh, yes. So I did graphic novels for 8 years. I primarily did them in manga style, and I took a break because I was abroad, and I didn't really write. I didn't draw anything. I thought my life was moving in a different direction. Flash forward to 2017. I started doing NaNoWriMo again, getting into writing, and I picked up the project. Then it was titled After Dark, and really went forward with it, developed it over the next 3 years on and off. So between 2017 and... You think I'm boring? This puppy is being so rude. Thanks. Hi, Liv Miles Paranormal Romance Books. Hello. Hello. Oh, we got some little comments coming in here. So I'll finish my little intro and we'll jump right into that. So January of 2020, I had a very rough draft of Tower of Dogs. And I took it to a local writing workshop. They were like, hey, this is interesting, but your writing could use a bit of polishing. So during COVID and all of that, I rewrote almost the whole story. And finally, last year, finished the story to what it is. And just really ran forward with it. The title officially became Tower of Dogs, and I can go into that today as well. But a lot of things have happened in my creative life to bring us to today. But I am more than willing to answer questions, and we can get to know each other. I mean, I'm kind of the only one here, but you get the concept. You get the concept. So let me check the comments here real quick. So we have a couple people here. Billy Bandit. I don't know. Can I click on these? I forgot. I haven't done this in a while. Let's see. Billy Bandit says, I just started reading graphic novels. Some are really good. Have you read Paper Girls? Netflix picked it up. Should be a fun show. I have not read Paper Girls. I have honestly, when I was in middle school and high school, I used to bring home stacks of graphic novels and manga from the library and finish them in 2 days. Then when I got into drawing my own, I should probably grab them because proof. Knock things over. Oh dear. Oh dear. They're gonna fall. All right. We're only grabbing some because the big box of them is stuck. Okay, so I started my first manga in sophomore year of high school, and since then, I have really cut back on what I've been reading. I think a lot of that was I was putting so much time into creating that I didn't consume as much anymore, and I also didn't want my style to be influenced once I actually developed a style. So that first book here, Kuro Kenshin, was done 2006, so it's got a little bit older art of mine. But I was really out of the reading circle for a very long time. I think the year before last, so 2020, I started actually reading again since I was going more toward novels. So I have not read Paper Girls. I've not read a lot of things that are very popular, and that's kind of a trend with me. So I apologize, but if it's on Netflix, I'm sure I can find some time to watch it. Alrighty, so what we got here? Yes, short and sweet name. Short. All right, so we got our first official question in the comments. What genre is your book? My book, Tower of Dogs, is definitely YA fantasy with a little bit of dystopia. And it took me a really long time to feel okay saying it's like dystopian, because when you hear YA dystopia, I think a lot of people think Hunger Games, Divergent, like there were so many of those. I think we're just past the dystopian trend. But the reason that it does fall into that category is because the world that this story is set in just went through, well, it's going through the end of a great winter, which was the apocalypse that encompassed the entire world and made the elementals, which were known as Agi, go dormant. So essentially magic faded away. People started living underground. And at this point where we start in Tower of Dogs, they're reestablished. So it's not like everything is terrible and the world is, basically on the cusp of ending again. So they're reestablished, but there are new threats as that winter is receding, because people's natures are reawakening. That's what capital N nature is, what we have for their elemental abilities. So as that's reawakening, some people are going berserk, and it's, forcing people to find sanctuaries up north, and some craziness happens, and I gotta be very careful with spoilers because I love to just tell you everything. But that's where the fantasy comes in, is the elemental magic coming back into this not so great dystopian sort of post-apocalyptic world, if that makes sense. And YA, because my characters are 13 going on 14, and he turned 18. I'm already in the second book, and they're all a year older, so I have to how old were they? So they start at that age, and it's technically YA. So YA fantasy dystopian. Okay. Billy Bandit says, I'm curious about your launch and your book. Thank you. That's kind of why we're here. Tower of Dogs is a unique title. The cover is also striking. Thank you. I love this cover. I love this cover so much. It was kind of a happy accident, because I did design it myself, but the initial design of it was black, and it was less revealing. I tried to keep a lot of things in shadow, and then I kind of turned the concept on its head on just a whim, and I fell in love with this white cover with the blue text. It feels very wintry, and that's a big theme going on, obviously, with the Great Winter. And as for the title, it took me forever to decide on this title. I knew the title for the second book before I knew the title for the first book. But I couldn't just switch them because it didn't, I guess, story and plot wise, it felt better on the second book than it did the first one. But to put it, I wish I should have a book stand here, but I have nothing. To put it pretty simply, I should probably just put the cover back up. I should do that. Wow, brain. There is a tower. There's actually more than one tower within the story. Historically, there were a lot more, but there's one that's very prominently featured in this first book especially. And then Dogs also has a couple layers of meaning on there. The Brotherhood, which is called the Fourth, they're also known as Dogs of the Fourth because they are, they kind of latch onto things like dogs and don't let go. They're kind of not necessarily warriors in nature because a lot of them are laborers now, but they do have that sort of protective presence in Sun, which is the main city. I think I have a map here. Let me pull up that map. That will be good. Let's pull up the map. More maps. Everything's in a different folder. All right, so let's share that. Share screen. Map. Okay. Alrighty, so this, I'm just going to hide this for a second here. So this is the main city that Rome and Sparrow, our protagonists, were born and raised in. This area here is known as the Fourth or the Fourth District, primarily where the Brotherhood is stationed, where they've made their home. And this tower here used to be the actual like southern border of the city, but the city was expanded, so it doesn't really serve as a lookout point anymore. It's really run down. So it's called the Orphan Tower because it was kind of abandoned. So that's kind of the main tower that the Fourth has a connection to. So that's what we use to make our I'm just going to keep popping this up and down. Our title there. Now I lost my spot because I de-highlighted you. Hey, you can always do art again. You can always do art again, for sure. Like, I actually thought I was done drawing and like doing anything with illustration when I finished my graphic novels. Because I was teaching English in Japan. I was dancing. So that was my new creative venue. At that point, I was happy not to think I had to draw anything. I think I did it sometimes in class for the kids, but I never thought I'd come back to it. And there's a lot of illustrations, like the landscape and the characters that I want to do with Tower of Dogs and the story to come. So I wanted to get back into it and craft my skills a little bit better because I really love digital painting, but I don't think I'm good at it. So, Dystopia took a hit during the period. Yeah, it did. And I'm with everything, I don't follow trends. So I don't know what the trend is right now, but I'm always late or I'm like super early. But this is the story that I've had on my back burner for, let's see, I graduated in 2008. It's 22. 14 years now? Yeah. So the original concept of this book started in my brain 14 years ago. Just to show you, for those out there, like if you have an idea and just because you haven't finished it in a year and got it out, if you keep working on it, you can still turn it into something awesome. Hopefully this is awesome. For me, just having it made feels awesome, but I'll let you guys kind of decide if it's awesome or not. Let's see. When I hear why dystopia, I think worldwide doom, but dystopia is a popular genre. Yeah, it does. It does. Doom does sell. I think it's, part of the drama, and it gives you a sense of the plot because you know what to expect from the world. And then a lot of popular ones just turn into a romance. And you're like, okay, cool. Glad your love saved the world. If you can't tell, I get very disappointed when I think we're going to get a cool action-y book and people just fall in love. I can appreciate romance, but it's not what it came for. Okay. Everything bounces back. Yeah. Thank you. Like I said, I love it. All right. So what was your cover process? How did you find the artist? Well, I am the artist. My process with this cover, we're going to jump back to put the cover on screen here. Not that one. Oh, I should just keep these files open. I should. Cover art, there we go. Boom, boom. That's not the cover. There we go. We're putting the cover back on screen since we're going to keep talking about it. And I apologize if I slip into an accent. I didn't mean to. It just happens. If you've known me at all, I might say something weird. So I did the cover art. And like I said, it definitely changed a lot from concept. I knew what I wanted for the text because I really like the sort of, not quite distorted, but the like worn look of the text. And I know I wanted like them to be the main focus. With the art itself, if you look at it, you can see that you have like a human face sculpted out, and it's also sort of a tower shape, not to reveal all of the layers and the secrets. But when I started drawing this, I actually had an underlayer of character art that I did for Rome, because I thought I was just going to draw his armor, spoilers, over that image and then have it with the black background so you couldn't see everything, but you can get snippets of it. And then I just loved this sort of natural-ish, crickly, crackly face. Again, not to spoil too much, that it was like immediate. I'm like, this is my cover. And I'm so excited to do book 2 and book 3, even though like this wasn't a typical drawing style for me. So I'm hoping I can duplicate it. That's my biggest concern right now. Is like, hope I can duplicate it. Yes, you aren't a fantasy author until you've drawn a map. Oh, I have drawn maps. There are 2 maps in my book. I just showed you the one of the city, and then the world map, which I kind of threw up at the way beginning of this. But we can come back to that for sure. But yeah, you need a map, especially with as big of a story as this is going to be. I need to know where things are because it's moving around. I like the map. Yeah, maps are awesome. Maps are awesome. I usually look forward to finding maps in books. FYI. Yay, romance. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if I know I'm going into a romance book, I expect it, and I expect certain things. But if I was literally to pick up a YA dystopia, and I feel like there's more put on the romance than the actual, like, I wouldn't say it's a save the world story, but you know, whatever conflict is going on, then I'm kind of like, nah. Especially if I didn't like the 2 characters that ended up together. No. All right. Here's another question. How long did it take to outline, if I outlined, how long to write, and then how did you go about any marketing? All righty. Big question. Big questions. So, as I said, the original concept for Tower of Dogs was way back my senior year of high school. At that time, it was the placeholder title was After Dark because it was after the darkness that the Great Winter caused. I just had like some characters and I was sort of slowly developing the landscape on it. Just gonna mute you. But I had not started writing. Until 2017. 2017 Camp Nano? No. Because I came back in 2017. I think it was NaNoWriMo, like November of 2016, I started. it was either that November or in the Camp Nano in April, where I actually sat down, did, 50K or however, and wrote through the first draft. And then I started the second book. I liked it at the time, but I didn't touch it again until 2020. Like I said, 2020 in January is when I took it in to get some feedback on my actual writing as a craft. I wanted more feedback on the story, but people were very kind of focused on the actual writing itself. So it did benefit me, but as far as developing the characters and everything, I did all that on my own. So I started rewriting in that following April. I did Camp Nano, and in the initial draft, I had Rome and Sparrow as 2 POVs. I did have a third POV in there because I thought I was going in a different direction. But when I didn't scrap everything, but I basically started from 0 because I noticed that Sparrow's side was way more developed. She was much more of a main character than Rome. I didn't have too much shown with what was going on with him, even though he had a lot of character growth. So I was like, okay, I need to develop Rome. So draft 2, officially, I wrote 2/3 of the book. I think, so for number wise, it was 60K or so at the time, just for Rome. So literally getting his story arc, figuring out who he was as a character. And I initially, or I guess it wasn't initially, we're in the second stage. At that time, I thought book 1 was going to be Rome, book 2 was going to be Sparrow, and then they would come back together in book 3. Yeah, I really loved the double POV that I had initially because I felt like with only writing Rome's POV, I was missing a lot, even if I was going to write it later. That I feel like I had better stepping stones when I had the alternating POVs. So draft 3, I put back in Sparrows. A lot of these I was able to modify from the original draft since I already had so much of her story. And then this is what year we were in, 2020. Writing on and off, because it took me a long while to finish that third draft. But I remember it was last year in April, that I actually wrote the ending. And I was able to go through and do developmental edits so that in July I had beta readers, editor was in October, and then publishing today. So it took me a lot longer than the second book is taking me, and that's because I really didn't know the world. I didn't know the characters. I don't outline very well, because if I outline too far ahead, I might as well not have, because something will change. And I'm very much a discovery writer where I know the general direction I'm going. Like with book 2, I know what the ending is, but I'm missing some parts in it. So I'm just kind of feeling it out to get in that direction. And as new information is given to me, I kind of adjust what happens. So I don't really outline. I only have really outlined after draft 1. And that's when I'm looking at my developmental edits for like characters, especially minor characters, making sure kind of everybody's doing a thing and it makes sense and it helps the plot. And also if like, oh, I need to switch this chapter and this chapter, like that's when I outline just to make sure the flow of everything is really good. As for marketing, this person did market. I did very little. I intentionally did not go above and beyond and outside my means to market on this book specifically because it is a first book in a series. Granted, it probably should be the one that I'm trying to grab everybody's attention with. But in my head, if it's a series, I want at least a few books in it to know that, okay, it's actually a thing. It's not like, here's book 1 and then nothing comes out. So I'm kind of just going low-key-ish with Tower of Dogs. Friends and family, obviously, I am always live streaming with Cordy and we talk about it. I try to just put videos up, Instagram posts up here and there to mention it, get it in people's ear, get it out there. But really, I don't think I'm going to go into like a huge promotion of it until probably next year, since hopefully, if everything goes well, the third book will be, so the second book will come out end of this year, and then the third book will be the year after. And if I get my animated trailers done, then those will be hopefully a huge promotional help. But also, like, I just want animated trailers for my books. Like, I have to have them. So I'm going to make them. Yes. Yeah, if I didn't have a background in digital art, like that was my major in college, university, whatever you want to call it. So I knew how to use like Photoshop and whatnot. But if I didn't have that background, I would look for a cover designer. There was a point when I was very disappointed in what I was drawing for this cover that I was like, shoot, I need to get a designer. And then I got lucky. So, like I said, hopefully I can do that. I can do that. I can do that for book 2. It's going to be beautiful and awesome. And yes, the blue and white, especially because it's a winter release, it's a wintry book. I was like, yeah, those are my colors. Yes, this is book 1. So it's itty bitty in the text right there. But it is book 1 in the Eden trilogy. It's a little, not too big of a chunk, but it's a good chunk. So for this trilogy specifically, there are going to be 3 books. Initially, it was going to be a duology. And then as I started writing book 2, I was like, oh, shoot, that's a lot. And so it's going to be 3. 3 still feels like it's going to be a lot, but it's not enough for a 4. So it's a trilogy. But these are my first installments in this universe that I've created with the Agi and the Great Winter. So once this trilogy is completed, I do have a couple standalones planned that are they're in their universe, but they're not quite companion novels because they're like different storylines. But then while I'm writing those, I can work up because I have a prequel essentially. So the events that led to the Great Winter and caused the apocalypse, that's going to be the next series installment. That's going to take a little bit of time, but it is going to happen because I have to do the thing. And it's already started, but it's going to be a while because that's such a bigger project. Yeah, you have to give them what they pay for. You have to give them what they want. Do I want to write full time? If I was only writing, maybe, but I write, I pretend I can draw. I started crochet. I have puppies and like I do so many things and I'll pick up things to do that I feel like there would be so much pressure to write full time and to like not disappoint people. Like that's such a huge anxiety trigger is like, yeah, do the thing. Don't mess it up. I'm like, okay. So I enjoy writing as part-time. I work part-time for now. I might have to go to full-time in the near future. Not too near, but at some point I might work full-time again. But that was kind of my deal was like, I'll work part-time for now and I'm going to get these books done and get myself started. So yeah. Do I want to? Like, if If it was the only thing and it paid the bills, like, I'm sure that would be awesome. But I don't know what that would look like. So right now, like I said, with everything else, probably not. Yes, I got started on book 2 while people were beta reading book 1. So I wanted to, like, my goal is to have this very rough first draft of book 2 done by the end of February, because that's when we're going on vacation for a week. And then that'll be like my mental break, so I can go back and do developmental edits, do whatever to get it ready for beta readers, with a tentative release of sometime between September and next January. I'm not putting a date on it, even though I have a date in mind. I'm not putting a date out there yet, because with this release, I felt I pushed everything later. So like, I gave my beta readers an extra month. I scheduled my editor further out. Then I gave myself more, like 2 months between editor and release, because I thought I was going to be like super busy working retail, and I thankfully wasn't. So I just didn't know what the time frame would look like. So I gave myself a whole bunch of extra time. Whereas now, like, I know what the finished product should look like and when it's ready. So if I can get that done closer to September, awesome. If it, I stumble and something goes wrong and things happen and it ends up being November, December, whenever, January, hopefully not, then I've accounted for that. So if that makes sense, I'm trying to stay ahead with my writing so I can be on track with my publishing schedule. Hiatuses are death. Oh my gosh. I am not guiltless in this, since one of my manga series, this one right here, actually I have it right in front of me, with the Cherry on Top series, is kind of not finished, but I took such a long break from it, and there's like really no following for it at all right now, that it's only gonna be her, I keep flipping it backward because I mirror, it's only ever gonna be her first year of high school, where I had planned for 3 years. And that's on me. That's, like I said, I was living a different lifestyle. I thought I was done. It never really had too big of a following. Kuro Kenshin definitely had a lot more. So, is it dead forever? You guys will have to decide that later. Let me know. I'm reprinting them through Amazon, so that's going to take me a little bit to get the last bits of it redone, but it'll be out there. And if people like it and they want more, we'll see where I'm at. Life is always so crazy, especially with the puppies. Like, they're pretty good. They're under my desk right now, like hugging my computer chair, so I can't move at all. But they, not to say like, oh, they need walks, they need to go outside, they need to be played with. I'm totally fine with all of that, but like, I prioritize them. So it's like, come home from work, take them, well, I can't say the word, take them on a real quick, or however long it needs to be. Then they want to go in, they want to go out, especially in the winter. Like, if it was warm out, I could just have the back door open with the screen and sit on the porch. In the winter, it's like, go, hurry up, come back really quick, please. It's so cold. So we are going to Universal Studios Florida for the first time. I went to the one in Japan, but my husband's never ever been to any of them. So we're going to go check that out. We went to Disney World 2 years ago for our honeymoon, and that was awesome. Like, it was such a nice break from reality. But we decided to go to Universal this time, since he's never been. Okay, I'm writing a book now. Well, outlining one. Gotta start somewhere for sure. How did you tackle the middle? Did you just discovery write as you did the rest, or did you stumble all the way through? So I don't mind writing Act 2 or the middle. that still falls under my discovery writing. Like, again, I have that direction. So usually Act 1, Act 2, I'm going through it pretty steadily since I try to build my characters throughout, not just stick to, what is it, Save the Cat or something. There's like it's like a 3-act structure, but it's broken down into 9, and like it's a common book formula. I've looked at it. I've seen some of my scenes kind of fall into those, but I don't plan that. I'm just like, tell me where you're going today, character. And that's how I write it. So Act 3 is the hardest for me. And that's when I like start getting all of the like, hey, did this character do this thing? Or like, oh, you should change that to this. So it gets a little more fuzzy until essentially what I did with book 1 and what I'm about to do with book 2 is write the ending. As messy or as whatever as it is, because it's going to change. I went through 7 rounds of edits with Tower of Dogs, so I'm okay with change. I enjoy editing because it always gets better. But Act 3 is like, I want to make sure all of my threads are tied up, and we had our sprinkles of cookie crumbs throughout. So I almost get overwhelmed with all the information I think I have to have in Act 3 that I end up writing a really rough ending, looking at developmental edits with the major characters, going through and editing those, and then going through and focusing on minor characters, or like semi-major, not quite minor, but the lesser characters. And actually, the developing the minor characters has been one of the most satisfying and I think most helpful for my plot developments. So, food for thought, minor characters. Yes, puppies are the best. They just make your heart full. It's so good. Oh, I'm your audiobook today. Great. Hopefully whoever's narrating my voice is, clear and concise for you. Yes, drive safe, please. Drive safe. Sounds like Save the Cat's used for, yeah. I think it's definitely useful for understanding story structure, but people who like follow it religiously, you don't want to be too predictable, especially with reviewers being like very critical, which, you're supposed to be critical when you're a reviewer, but I shouldn't go into a book and just be like, let me guess, this is going to happen. So some unpredictability, or just, I think the slow burn, not just for romance, but for building characters, is underappreciated. So I slow burn a lot, kind of cruising through the book, and then right about the point where I'm at right now with book 2, I'm just like, okay, is everybody doing their job? 3-act, 9-block, 27-chapter method. It's so structured. It's too structured. I can't do it. Yeah, we don't want to use, like I said, if you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know where to go with this, try it, do the structure, get your story developed. And then I think if you spend enough time with the characters and the story, and if it's something you're actually really interested in, you're gonna make it your own thing. So it's good wherever you need to start there. Okay, so while we got a break from the comments, I actually do have questions from, let's look at, whoopsie. We're gonna look at the ones on Facebook, because I have them all copied over. Okay, there's a few. Alrighty, so the first few were actually Stephanie Cordy who asked these. Where did the inspiration for Tower of Dogs spawn from? To be honest, X-Men and kind of your general like medieval fantasy. Tamora Pierce is like my favorite author, and she almost exclusively wrote in like medieval fantasy, magic, like my ideal fantasy setting, but I also love X-Men. Like Avengers are cool and everything, but X-Men for life. So way back in the early concepts of After Dark, it was like a fantasy sci-fi. So the technology was a little bit more developed. A lot of the changes in the people were not virus. It was more of a chemical cause. For a while, I think it was a virus, but then when I explained it to people, they were like, "Oh, it's a zombie thing," and I'm like, "No, they get magic sort of things. They're special." And I know the reason that I did that too was I wanted to do sort of like elemental magic, but I didn't want it to be Avatar: The Last Airbender, like throwing fireballs, spinning water, and all of that. Because I did want to write a very realistic kind of adaptation, or mutation rather, with the abilities that the characters got. So, for example, obviously with it being a great winter and being cold, those who had like a sort of earth-based nature or a beast-based nature would grow their hair very thick or grow it like fur to protect from the cold. Or they would get very hard, leathery skin if they were in a hotter climate. So kind of thinking of the magic as mutations in a way, to start out. And then I had, I came back to my true self and was like, it's magic, but it's not fireballs. It's not fireballs. So X-Men was a very big inspiration on that. And several of my favorite X-Men characters went into Rome's character, or at least his nature, that he... Was that a spoiler? He may or may not have a nature. I think it's safe to assume that he does. All right. I told you I'm gonna just drop some spoilers in here, but there's 4 people watching. Nobody's gonna know. You guys are special. You get to know all the inside info. So the next question she asked was, how did you develop your characters to make them 3-dimensional? Primarily, like I said, with discovery writing, a lot of that happened as the story went along, where I can remember writing a scene. This is like chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 5. And so Rome is walking with Nuka. Nuka is his like wolf dog companion, who's actually like sparrows, more so sparrows, but when Rome and Sparrow are separated, I should have read the description of the book. I will do that when I finish. I'm already on a tangent here, so we're gonna do that next. So they're walking towards the 4th to kind of recoup, and 2 of Rome's friends are coming in the other direction. One is a younger boy about Sparrow's age, so like 13ish, 12, 13ish. And he's all like happy to see Nuka. But the other character, like as I was writing it, like I kept him standing away from Rome and the young boy whose name is Griffin. Rome, Griffin, and Nuka. When they got together, and then when Griffin and Nuka ran ahead, he purposely sidestepped out of the way. And I think initially when I was writing that, I was just like, oh, he doesn't like to touch things. But I was like, no, he's afraid of dogs. He's just not comfortable with dogs. And so that became part of his character trait. And this was like a really early draft, but it was something that I was able, like if they were in another situation and Nuka was nearby or however, showing his discomfort. And I think having a character be uncomfortable in a situation, having fears. So with Rome in Shush, we're not done yet, baby. Can you hear him crying? With Rome, in that first draft where I didn't have him developed, he was basically like, yeah, I'm strong. I can go fight stuff. I'll be fine. You know, like he didn't really have a personality. And that was like, I was like, but you have to. You're the brother. You're the other POV. And it took me a while to develop him and figure out like what his struggle was. Like if his supposed nature did awaken, how that would aid him or hinder him. And spoiler, not a spoiler, but their father is dead. He died in a mining accident where the mine got flooded, and that's what created Miner's Lake, which you could see on that map of Sun. And so that kind of crippled Rome. So like where he used to go down to the mines with his father, now he hates going underground. He's claustrophobic. It made him a little bit more of a character. So really, yeah, didn't you know that? Like I said, a lot of discovery writing went into it. And then just like finding weaknesses is really how I make them three-dimensional. I know a lot of character sheets are like, what does the character want? What do they need? And I'm like, okay, sometimes it's hard to explain it in a want and a need. But if you're like, this is what's happened to them, this is how they feel about it, they're going to struggle if they run into this thing. Like, that makes more sense than like, they need to grow and do the thing. Like, sometimes you can't explain it until you actually like see like, oh, okay, he is not gonna like having to go underground. No. I believe Kate-tastic has done the 27-act structure. I've watched so many like author tubers like go over Save the Cat and outlining and all the things, and it's a lot of it's I feel like it's repetitive. But like I said, it's a good introduction to the structure of a story if you haven't done it before. But yeah, I mean, try discovery writing. Just try it. I feel like it's, even if it's not a scene that makes it into your book and it could end up being like your own background information for a character to make them who they are. Because I have so many backgrounds for characters that either don't share their background or can't share their background. And it's like, I just want everybody to know. Yeah, it's super fun. It's super fun when you learn your characters teach you things. It's great. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like discovery writing is good if you can have a start and a direction. Like I said, you don't have to have like the ending figured out. You just got to know like this is what they're working on. But I do have to take breaks between writing so I can have, like, I think during NaNoWriMo, I had fantastic writing days. Not every day, but I did have some that were like 3,000 to 6,000. But the only way I was able to write that while discovery writing was because I knew like, okay, in this scene, what's a good example without spoiling? In this scene, we're really gonna play with Sparrow searching the city, for example. So I had something that she started doing, and then that led to other things that she found or that people she ran into and whatnot. So it's good to have a start, I think. A lot of times I'll mentally plot like what equates to like 2 or 3 chapters. Write that. It may change a little bit. I may learn some new things. Then I'll get stuck and I'll take a break. Sometimes it's a day or two. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks happens a lot. But then I'll come back and I'll write 2 or 3 more chapters. Like, it's very inconsistent, but I've kind of learned to control that a little bit, which jumps. I know, baby, you're such a crybaby. Which leads into the question. Oh, sorry, that's not the question. I didn't look. Do I have a daily quota of words to write? No. I've done try to write at least 500 words a day, which is about an hour. It usually doesn't take an hour, but usually I'll say this is my hour of writing. That didn't work for too long. Pretty much, as I learned last year, I can only really focus on a project or a task for 2 weeks at a time. And then that's when I sort I will show you the buttons. That's when I feel like I need a break and to do something else so I can get productive again. But right now with my goals this year, I don't know how many words this book is going to be, but I want to finish writing the draft by the end of February. So I'm kind of just basing it off of book 1, which was 112K, and I'm at 80K. So by the end of January, I want to try to get to 100, maybe a little over 100. Probably 100. Generally, 20K a month is a good goal for me, but I can't do a daily quota because, like I said, I might write 2,000-3,000 words in a day and then not write for 2 weeks. So a little inconsistent, but I'm doing the work. So being inconsistency is okay. That is hard to pronounce. Inconsistency is okay as long as you don't quit. That's probably not true for a lot of things like dieting and paying bills, but it works for me. All right, puppies, they want to see you. I know you guys are in the least lit space ever. In the least lit space ever, puppers. Yes, we're bringing the light to you. All right, we gotta scoot back. We gotta see the puppies. Come, pups. All right, watch your head, sweetie. Baby. She doesn't want to move her head. The trail. Oh, Blanky's in the way. I'm gonna scoot. Watch your head. Watch your head. Move your ear. All right. So this is Atreyu. This is our big boy, our big baby boy. He is a Mastiff. I hope you guys can hear me because I'm far, far away from the mic. Hey, buddy, you're on camera. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. He is a Mastiff Elkhound mix. Unsure on the Elkhound, but pretty sure. How old are you, bud? How old are you? Are you 1.5 years now? You're 1.5 years today. Yeah. His birthday is July 11th, 2020. And so he's 1.5 years today. Good boy. Hello. I know. And then this one over here is Tundra. Tundra. Oh. Now you want to say hi? Tundra. Baby girl. Hello. Over this way. Over this way. What you doing? What you doing, pretty girl? What you doing? Here we go. Hey, baby. You taking a nap? Watch your ear. Watch your ear. Watch your ear. Okay. I gotta scoot back. Guys. Took it down. Okay, I really need to get closer to the computer again. Oh. She is 9.5 months. March 28th is her birthday. So they're both pretty young. I just had to get 2 puppies. We got him first, and then for his 1-year-old birthday, essentially, we went and we got him a little sister. So you can see why they might take some of my time. Should I have this light on? Is this making it better? A little bit. But, like, should I have the light on? Mm-hmm. The tripod is so big, though. It's like, where do I put it? Yeah. So they're being pretty good right now, but I'm fully prepared that they're going to want to go places very soon. Don't know if that helped at all. Did I miss? Yes. Yes, he does. He really does look like a Rhodesian. When he was going through like his puppy changes, his fur changed so much. He got to the light golden color that he is, and he had like a solid black stripe. So people thought he was Rhodesian. People thought he was a German Shepherd, and I'm like, no. But he could be one day. No. But he is our baby boy, and he is a baby. He knows it too. Is this gonna work? That kind of works. Okay, beep beep, beep beep, beep beep. And they kind of howl on command, but we're gonna hold that for today, just to not hurt the ears of the listeners. I think I had a question back here. Yes. What was the scene in your head that first came to you that told you, I need to write this book? Oof. Now I gotta think back way to draft one. So many things have changed. Initially, I feel like I'm overusing that word, but at the beginning, I related a lot more to Sparrow, which is probably why she had like 70% of the book and he had less. Rome, that being. And I think the actual scene that really created the characters for me is actually probably something we're not going to see till the end of the series. But a lot of the initial scenes, like in the cities, were very like street gang fights. Except for the characters were a bit different. But I think that sort of urban, buddy, not right now. The urban aspect, the sort of brotherhood going was a key inspiration to starting the story. I'm going to piggyback on that question with one from Facebook because it actually talks about or asks about not something quite similar, but where did it go? Where they, the dawdling writer asked, what's your favorite scene and why? And one of my favorite scenes is in chapter 4, which you can actually read the first 4 chapters on my website for free. Probably should have put that link in the description. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. When the city is gathered in the train yard and they're trying to send a train away to get essentially refugees out, and there's an attack. So the train is pulling away. Rome and Sparrow climb up onto the train deck, and they're just staring down the line of it. And I picture this in my head, like so, like animated. Actually, and it's one thing I really want to draw out. Rome takes Sparrow's hand and asks if, like, Do you remember when we used to race Dad's sled as kind of like, get prepared to run, and then they take off down the deck and he throws her on the train and she's able to escape. But like just that small moment between Rome and Sparrow as brother and sister making that connection, I love that scene. I really want to draw it out, and God, if I could find voice actors, I could do so much, but I also would need so much more time. So there's that scene, and then there's a couple of the fights I really enjoy, especially where Rome, he gets beat down a lot. He's a fighter, but he definitely is not like, I'm the best forever. He struggles. He's a struggle boy. So the fight that he fights back for, it feels like the first time, and actually like gets a leg up on the opponent, for me, I'm like, yes, go, cheering him on. So I really like that scene as well. There was another. Feeling on inconsistency on word goals. I'm trying to cut down on the amount of time I spend on hiatuses because I lose so much time each year on breaks. Are you writing like installment, like not to say on Wattpad necessarily, but like, are you releasing things on a schedule, or are you just trying to write for like your own novel project? Explain to me a little bit more, because I find it so interesting that people can just like write a chapter a week and then put it up, and I'm just like, but the changes, the edits, the like, it's not done. And on my Patreon, I did, for like the $1 tier, I did actually have the chapters go up, but it was after I had, pretty much solidified this story. I think it's like draft 5-ish, so it's not the most polished version of the chapters, but it's, you pay $1 and you can read like 22 chapters right now. So it was something to get it out there, get people reading it. But I used to do it with my manga. Like I would have to get a page or two each week. I'm sad to say that I don't know if it's the discipline or if it's just like I have so much going on now compared to then. I don't feel confident that I could do it. I would have to get like so far ahead and then start posts slowly as I like keep going. Yeah. You have to go outside? Outside potty? Okay. Let me double check the questions and we'll take like, we'll run you downstairs, okay? Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, biggest moments are definitely inciting incident and the final scene, which this isn't quite the final scene, but it's like an epilogue scene / something else. But I'm writing a werewolf shifter romance trilogy. My goal is to write 4 books a year, which is a challenge. Yes. A 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. Woo! Best of luck to you. I don't know how much you've written, but 4 books a year is hard for anybody. That is hard. Unless they're relatively shorter, I guess. Like, well, I know you could do it. You're a pupper. You have magic abilities. You can do everything. Yeah, you can definitely. I think you have. There is definitely time to do it. But I have fur babies. I don't have the real babies. So I'm more power to you with all that extra. Hey. He's so talkative. Do I need an intermediate? Probably soon. If you can hop on, that'd be great, because I need to run these guys outside real quick. Of course, I knew this was going to happen. Yeah, like these are my babies, and that's a lot. 5 a.m. I want to start waking up more early to use a couple more hours of my day more productively. But my productive time is like afternoon, evening. No matter what time I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to do anything yet. I am not awake. I am not here for that. But my husband also works second shift, so it's usually if I'm awake and not working in the morning, I'm just hanging out with him. So as much as I want to wake up early, it's not going to be very productive for me, at least right now, until I can like, oh, sleeping in till 5. That's not sleeping in. That's too early. That is too early. Sure. Let me send you the. Well, are you on? Wait, I don't want to do that while you're driving. Are you still driving? Q. I'm asking Q. Yeah, you can edit it. True. I think my big concern, because like for example, I had my husband read draft 3, 4-ish, and I changed a few things that were significant and need to get changed. But like, he was like, why do you keep changing things? I just read the story. So I don't think people go back and read necessarily. Like if you have consistent readers, I feel like they wouldn't go back to read what you edited, but I don't know. I've never really hung out on Wattpad to know that. Yeah, they are exactly that, and they kind of settled down. So talkative, he is so. When you, sorry, I don't know. Mornings are just. When it gets warmer out, I can wake up a little earlier, but in the winter, I should be hibernating. You're lucky I'm awake at all. That's kind of my approach. So let me hop back to some more questions while I have a moment of silence, as it were. Kind of back to the questions I had on Facebook. Will you write novellas for side characters' POVs? I was not thinking novellas. So, big picture here. I have my website, but I want to make a website specifically for everything that happens in the universe of Tower of Dogs, with Eden and the Great Winter. So now this is a project that is way in the future, but obviously I can start developing it now with like the stories and whatnot. But picture like a map on the screen where you can click locations and you can get like not just information, but you can find characters there and read like a little story about them. Or I kind of want to do a choose your own adventure portion of it, but that's like super big project that nobody else needs to know about except for you 3 and whoever watches this later. Like, because that's always been that like final step, at least with the Eden trilogy, is I wanted to make an interactive website of some sort. So that would have some extra character stories with one of the characters who appears in the book who's actually been around since like before the Great Winter. He was kind of like reborn in this comeback. I haven't quite figured out if his is a standalone or if it's part of the series. But like for other minor characters in the story, I don't have like novellas planned or anything. But like anything can happen. This is the universe that I'm in, just like Tamora Pierce has written like so much in Tortal, which is her fantasy kingdom. This is my universe, and pretty much everything that I create from now moving forward will be a reflection or a piece of it. So planned, no, but things can happen. Things can happen. Next one. If you could hang out with one character for a day, who would it be? Honestly, I think, and this is the character that I most relate to because they are the organized one. They're kind of the mother of the group, and that's Liam, who is Rome's best friend. And I actually did a portrait of him, one of the few that I actually got done, but I will show you guys Liam since you are here and you are special. Liam. So Liam is one of my boys. Obviously, he's Rome's best friend. They grew up doing all the things, getting into mischief together. But since, Liam, let's hop onto Liam. Liam has also been taking care of his sisters. So in the fourth, women are not allowed. It's very much just the brotherhood. When you get married, or if you decide to get in a relationship, or however it goes, generally you retire from the fourth and you go into the other parts of the city to live your life. So Liam had joined the fourth when he was younger because his cousin had joined, but his mom is not very reliable. She cannot make enough. Ration tickets is the primary currency here. She cannot provide enough for her youngest daughter, and then her eldest daughter, so Liam's first younger sister, is, she has her own life. She's got a baby, so she's struggling too. So Liam, a lot of Liam's ration tickets he's been sharing with his mother and his sisters. So he's been more responsible, whereas in Rome's case, he has Sparrow, who's his younger sister, but their caretaker was definitely more involved in raising her, especially when he decided around 12, between 10 and 12 after his father dies, when he really committed to the fourth. So he didn't, while he was still hanging out with his sister and going to visit Putra, he didn't have to provide for them, but Liam did. So Liam is a very reliable, thoughtful character, and he's the character that upsets me the least, because so many of these other, well, maybe not the least, but so many of the other characters either have very, very strong personalities, or they're very, very stubborn, and I'm just why are you doing that? So, but Liam is my boy. Liam is my boy. I would hang out with Liam all the time. What's that next question? And then one more question here. Who inspired your style of storytelling? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how to describe my style. I know the type of stories that have inspired it. Like I said, X-Men and the Tortall stories by Tamora Pierce. But as far as if it means writing style, I tend to underwrite, I think, because I picture so much. But I don't like the purple prose and just using more words to use more words. So my writing style, I think, is it's not minimalistic, but it's definitely more minimalistic than it is purple prosy. Very direct. And part of that is when you're in Rome's POV, he's impulsive. He is focused on whatever he's doing. Whereas with Sparrow, I do try to write a little bit more since she's more observant. So describing what she sees a bit more, and Rome just gets action, not just gets action, but he has the more hard actiony parts. So they both have, I'm trying to give them a different voice since they have different personalities and they go through different things. But I don't know what that means for my writing style. I don't know. Did I miss anything here? Yes, Liam. Thank you. I wanted to do more portraits. I have like a handful done, but I have not done Rome and Sparrow yet. And they're like the main characters. So my bad, but they will happen. But like Liam is like, I just had a much clearer picture of him that I knew I could put on the page, where I think with Rome and Sparrow, with there being a little extra layers to them and the changing and everything, it's like, what's a good representation of them in a portrait? So there's that. Oh, let me send you the link, Q. I keep forgetting. Invitee, copy, Facebook-y. That way you can join. Looks like they have conked out, so I may not have to go just yet. But just in case they get rowdy, we will bring in our co-host here. Okay. Did that. Picking up with some more fun questions. So Fee, who is usually our third in the group, she asks, what were the most frustrating and most exciting parts of the publication process? Let me tell you, formatting ebooks is so frustrating. I don't know if there's a program out there that I am just not aware of, but in my brain, what I see in my PDF and my doc should look exactly like that in the ebook. Now, I do use, give me a chapter page. I use this same text style for my chapter headings right there. So that font doesn't translate over. And then when you do like spacing like this, more often than not, it just made things look janky. Like it would push it to another page and it would make the paragraph spacing all weird. So like my ebook formatting is super simple and I kind of don't like it, but you're able to resize it and make it bigger or smaller as needed on Kindle. And that's what it's for, right? Sure. So formatting ebooks, because it's not the way I expected it to be, and I spent so much time. I tried Calibre, and for some reason it wasn't working. I think I'm just doing something wrong. But I felt like everything I did when I was trying to format it just didn't go the way I expected or wanted it to. So unfortunately, ebooks, formatting those, not my favorite. My most exciting part was getting the hardcover. Like, this baby is just my pride and joy right now. Initially, I was not going to do the hardcovers until I finished the trilogy, and then I could do like a hardcover release of all of them, and then hopefully planning for audiobooks later when the 3 are done. But it was available through BN Press, Barnes & Noble Press, and I had already planned to do a paperback through them. Oh, Q's here. Q's here. Hello. There you are.
Hello.
Hello.
Come here.
Hello.
I'm at my parents' relieving my dogs.
Okay, all the doggos. So yeah, so doing the hardcover, it was kind of a just for me thing to see how it worked, and it's beautiful. And I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's do hardcovers. So that was super exciting.
There. Why is it so much?
Leah says hi. So on to the next question. In your next book, what have you learned to do differently to make things go more smoothly? Yeah. So my biggest thing was with timing, since I spaced out everything so much, like giving my beta readers 2 full, I think I gave them 3 months. I actually started in June. I gave them 3 months to read and give me feedback. And then I scheduled my editor my publication date later because I didn't know when I was going to be done. So rather than set those dates, I'm just doing the work and getting it done so it can go out when I'm ready, when its book is ready. But also, I ordered way too many proof copies. In the first order, I ordered 3, and this was like draft 5 because my mom wanted to read it. I needed to read a copy for myself to edit, and then I wanted one more because I thought my brother might or my husband might. So just in case somebody else was going to actually read and help me out. So I did have readers, and they did really help me out, but I did not need to order 3 because now I have 3 proofs that I'm like, I can't do anything with this. They're just getting kind of dirty. And then I ordered like a set of proofs from Barnes and Nobles, which again, like with this being my first essential book release, I needed to because I haven't seen how things were printed with each company. But waiting for the proofs to come in, the hardcover took a month, whereas like the paper, let's see, proof copies through Amazon took like 4 days to a week. The paperback through Barnes and Nobles took 2 weeks, and the hardcover took a month. So waiting on those copies was, I got other stuff done, but it felt like a waste of time in the span of things. So timing is now I can manage a little bit better. And yes, Q does write the books.
I do. Sorry, I'm trying to find headphones because you're really quiet.
I'm sorry.
On not like when I was watching the stream, it was fine. It's just now that I'm in StreamYard, it's really quiet all of a sudden.
Okay.
And I left my bag in my car because I thought my parents would be home because I was coming to pick up books that I've ordered, but no one's home, so now they need attention. But yeah.
Now it's.
I'll just strain. But yes, I write books.
Yes, she writes the books. I have them here.
I'll say my parents have copies somewhere.
These are
those
Stephanie Q's books. Search for the Phoenix. It's the Ashport Archives series. She just finished it last year.
Yep.
She writes chunks. Look at that. That's a chunk. But
you know what I mean by they need attention? So you see what I mean by they need attention? Pie is pulling at my face.
Yeah.
Although I think a mom's home. Is she home? No one's home. What are you guys getting excited for?
It won't fit back on the shelf. But Q and I met. I stalked her on YouTube. We met while I was in Japan.
Yep.
And then she was writing her first book in the Ashport, and that I think was actually one of the catalysts that got me back into writing. So you should all thank Q. You should all thank her. And go check out Ashport. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to stand in my kitchen so I can have my phone on the fridge with the magnetic back.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah,
her sister did the art for hers, and it's watercolor, right? The covers?
Yeah, they're watercolor.
They're beautiful. So
not by me. I did not do them.
No, your sister did them.
I have zero artistic talent. Although I was at work today showing off your cover.
Thank you.
And everyone was like, "Oh, that's so pretty," and I'm like, "I know, she did this."
Can't wait till you get the copy. Can't wait till I get the copy. All right. Where did we leave off? So many more questions. I knew this was coming.
Yes.
This one's kind of difficult to answer. Everyone's experience with writing, editing, and publishing are different, but do you think there is a universal truth you've uncovered?
For what part?
I know.
I am not doing that right now, Lucy.
I think it's probably, like I said, this was a concept I had 14 years ago, and it's just being published today because I didn't give up on it. I took the time to do the best that I could. Hi, Wooshi.
She's demanding something right now.
Laser. Yeah. I mean, if you need to take a break for the puppers, I understand. I will hold the fort.
Well, if you don't mean, as I was jumping on in case you needed to go relieve puppies.
Oh, well,
But I
they
can
are
jump back
taking a nap.
on once I'm at home.
Do you want to wait till you're home then?
I can do that because then
Okay.
I'm gonna do the light thing real quick.
Okay.
She's gonna bark like freaking crazy as soon as I acknowledge that I'm gonna do the thing.
And that's gonna wake
what's
up
happening right now.
Okay.
And then I will quickly. It just takes me like 5 minutes to drive home, and then I will jump back on for you.
Sure. Bye, Thunder. Yeah. So should I just pop you off then until you get home?
I can exit out. So I will be back shortly.
Okay. Bye. Yeah. So don't give up. Just don't give up. That's my. Oh, hello. You're back again.
Oh
no. If it's something you want to do, just keep trying. And there's plenty of sources of information out there to figure it out. But I think that's really in all of those facets is if it's something you want to do and you keep working at it, you will achieve a form of that goal, whether it's like you get the book in print or it's, very popular online, whatever it ends up being. You just got to keep working at it, as generic as that sounds. Let's see. Which was more frustrating / anxiety inducing, editing or publishing? Editing was like so much fun. Publishing. So like I still feel anxiety not knowing what every book looks like when it's printed. When I did my graphic novels, I sold them pretty much exclusively through like at conventions. So I was always ordering like 10, 15, 20 copies. And if there was ever a bad one, I could take it out. You stuck? And I did order several copies and I've sold those. So I need to order more, but there's always like a little anxiety that for some reason it's going to mess up. I don't know why, because it's like it should print the same every time. But I think between this copy, I know I updated the pages a little bit. And I might have like moved this blue a little bit over. So in my head, I'm like, does it still look good? Does it still look right? Did I mess it up? Which I won't know until I get to those 7 copies that I ordered. Because those need to go out to people. And that's the other thing. Like, I don't know if it really falls under publishing so much as like admin or whatever of me, like ordering books, signing them and selling them or shipping them. I'm always anxious when I have to ship it to somebody instead of giving it to them by hand, because I'm like, what if the address is wrong? And like I double check, but it's like it's still anxiety because I don't know they get it. And especially if they never say like, hey, thanks for the book, it just got here. I'm like waiting. I'm so waiting. I am so waiting. That's not English. Welcome back, Billy. Yeah, work stuff. Work sucks. I know. Okay, so we know nothing new there. Let's see. Piggybacking on that, the next question was, do you have any resources you would recommend to self-pub hopefuls? If it's for the publishing part specifically, like uploading your documents, formatting, there's so many sources here on YouTube. Like, take your pick. They're all pretty similar. What I wish, there was something specific that I was going through, and I think when you're putting in all the information yourself for your books, there is that sort of like mixture of like self-doubt and just wondering like, did I do that right? Is that what I was supposed to put there? A little bit with formatting. Yep, you're good. So a lot of the stuff is like I said, I got most of my reintroduction to self-publishing through YouTube. I think there's plenty of sources out there, but trial and error. That's why I ordered proof copies more than I needed. But trial and error is definitely an important part of the publishing process. Because even if you know it should print a certain way, it's worth ordering a copy for yourself to make sure that it does. What was the first or the moment you first fell in love with your main characters? Firsts. I can't really remember from way back in draft 1, but in the rewrite, when with Rome in particular, go ahead, go for it. Any questions are welcome. With Rome in particular, I learned so much about his character when I was writing out just his story. And when I learned that he was a bit claustrophobic and afraid of going underground and ended up dying like his father, and because he's impulsive, because he's trying to do the right thing, but his first instinct is to fight instead of figure it out, in my eyes, he is definitely a very flawed character. And each time that he's kind of faced at that crossroad, I feel for him, because he definitely does not make the right decision a lot. But there's a scene, there's a decently major scene in the middle-ish of the book. It's not quite the plot twist in the middle. It's not quite there, or it is, but it's like a little after that. But it's like, never mind, spoilers. But he breaks down. He goes through a depressive state, and then as he thinks he can leave and kind of get away from everything, like he's overcome with just like anger and lashing out. So he is my emotional boy, and being able to feel these emotions through him really is what latched me onto him as a character. With Sparrow, she definitely has some emotions, but she's a bit more passive of a character. She's gone into a different environment and she's learning a lot about it. So we're getting a lot of information through her, and she isn't quite sure how to react yet. But the part that I really like about her, like I relate to her a lot. I think I relate to her on a personal level more than many of the other characters, but she has not hit that transformation point yet. So she's still growing, but it's coming up. Like she's starting to come into herself. And I think I'm in love with that idea or that potential that I see in her. But I can't pinpoint specifically a moment that I like fell in love with her, because she's always kind of been my main character. So that makes sense. Okay, how did you know your book had enough to the plot? I'm not sure how to balance that. Like, how much stuff needs to happen to make it a full book? So, very good question. This is why I went through 7 edits. Most of the plot focused, if we don't think about draft 1, because draft 1 was a mess. Like, the span of the story that draft 1 covered is like half of this book, and that was probably about this. It was around 100,000 words, so it was really, really long, but it was really, really wordy, like unnecessarily wordy, but not in a good way. But like Sparrow's story had only covered half of what we cover in Tower of Dogs. Rome's barely covered anything. So focusing mostly on draft 2 through 5, I think were my most plot focused. let's say after each draft, to give you like a checkpoint, I would more or less scrutinize the plot points or the characters' actions. More so the characters' actions, because it's like, why did they do that? Does that make sense for their character to help this other character? And I did that until I didn't have questions that I didn't have answers to. So sometimes I developed the answer, but it wasn't going to be revealed in this book, or it's like background information, but I had an answer to it. Now, with the main plot itself, knowing that this was a series, there is an arc through the first book for both characters. And how I initially decided it, at least for Sparrow's side, is like I knew this scene was going to happen, and it would be good. It wasn't quite a cliffhanger, but I knew that was a good stopping point, or like a good checkpoint. So that did end up being the end of book 1 for her, with these other sprinkled points in it. But I just continuously said, okay, if this is my book, like what makes sense to go on in the next book, and what should I really have answered? What should I have touched on? What did I leave open and am not going to touch on later? So a lot of, self-evaluating. The beta readers did help with this a bit, because, like one of my questions with them was like, did everything make sense? Like, did you feel like you were missing anything? Or did the fact that Rome did this make sense? Like, probably not the best way to ask a question, but certain things like bringing in information sooner makes a plot stronger. Like, I hadn't described the Great Winter until like halfway through the book, even though that's like a huge setting point as well for the plot and for like the atmosphere. So I made sure to add that into like chapter 2. So yeah, hard to answer. A part of it is your feeling. And like, if you're writing a standalone, I think it's easier to be like, okay, did I wrap everything up? With a series, I think you do have a little bit more wiggle room. Like, you want something to happen, but there's going to be more, so you can add more. It's like very hard to describe. But feeling, that's even like worse. That's a worse answer. But I knew when I had written the ending where I was ending. And I didn't initially I had just written it to like, let me write this because it might be my ending, but I'm probably going to go back and change or fix. And I did have a very different ending in draft 2, 3-ish to this one. It was the same theme of characters getting together and doing a thing, but it was there was a lot of running back and forth, and I was like, this character goes here, then here, then here, and he goes back there, and then he goes there, and he can't find it, and like, I was like, why is he running around so much? So that was like a question that I had come up in rereading. I was like, why does he have to keep going back and forth? Like, that just seems like a waste. There should be a better way to do this. So questions like that. Did I fill my water? I did not. When Q comes back, I will fill my water. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea, Billy. But, feel it out. Feel it out. I'd say it's better if you have like one simple plot versus so many plots that don't go anywhere. So less is more, like Charmin. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more questions on my that I've copied from before. So some of these might overlap, but I'll see. And Next question. Does drawing your own characters help with the development of not only their visual descriptions, but also their personality and potential plot points? In this case, it went a little backwards. So when I was doing manga, a character inspiration would come from a drawing. Now with this, I had not intended to do any character illustrations for the longest time, so I was writing a lot. And in the draft that the beta readers actually read, one of my readers' feedbacks was he couldn't really picture the characters. Now in my head, I'm picturing them, and I thought I had described them enough, but I knew, like, when he said that, I was like, okay, let me go in and make sure, like, I describe them a little bit more. And to do that is when I started drawing, like, the portrait of Liam, when I did some other sketches of them. So the drawings did not feed in to their description initially, but it was like I started with a skeleton, I fleshed it out in the picture, and then I had a better description to describe them with, for the most part. But I think character traits were pretty well established in the writing, so that wasn't affected too much in the drawing. And yeah, so that kind of went into how big of a role did drawing play in your story development or enjoyment of creating the story. In this case, much less than it has before, but picturing some key locations like the tower, the Orphan Tower, or some like scenes where I can picture them in my head, like animated and awesome. Those, when I got to see those moments in my head, I'd be like, yes, that is so cool. And I would, be so excited to write it. And like, I'm so excited to put it in the trailer if I can. So being able to picture it I haven't drawn a lot of it yet, has definitely made it more enjoyable for me. But I think you probably picture things when you're writing them anyway. So not too much drawing. Already said, which character do I relate most to? And that's Sparrow, but also Liam. I feel like a lot of things that go on with Sparrow reflect me growing up, with the kind of trying to watch and learn things, but also being unsure what I'm supposed to do and like needing direction. And that's how she starts out, is she ends up as the companion for the handicapped daughter of a prominent family in Eden. And, she's basically told, like, your job is to keep her company because she doesn't have any friends right now, and to learn how to do chores and, not get in the way, not get into trouble. And she's okay with following those orders. Like, she's good with structure. She was raised with structure when she lived with Putra, who was their caretaker that brought them up after their dad died. Well, after their mom died and then their dad died. Spoiler alert. Their parents be dead. Which is like a huge trope in YA. I should do like a trope checklist or something of what is and what isn't in my book. So I relate to that sense of structure and needing to know, like, why am I doing this? What am I supposed to be doing? How can I be the most helpful? Am I needed? Whereas like with Liam, he's organized. He wants to help everybody and, keep things on track. So I relate to him a lot as well. Then a couple more questions there, but I have this one. Is there a book idea you're saving for later, specifically for when you've had a few books under your belt? Not particularly. Like, I want to write it later so I have an establishment. It's more of, like I said, everything I'm going to be writing moving forward is going to be in this universe. So, what would be the prequel of the events leading up to the catalyst of the Great Winter. That is, I've started it. That I believe is going to be a few books. Have the sort of companion novels / other novels that are in the universe of different time periods and different areas of the world. So let me pull up that world map to kind of refresh our brains here. Share my window. There we go. So with the world map, Sun is right in the center of, the northern center of Bhaskar, and that's where the Eden trilogy is taking place, is Bhaskar and Eden. I have so much more of that world already mapped out because I have a story in Kefar, which is like sort of the windy, sandy elements, as well as Sudar, which is the south. And in other parts of Bhaskar, there's one that is like right at the beginning of the Great Winter as people are migrating and adjusting. And it is actually a migration story, but it's more of a middle grade. And that takes place more in like the southern Bhaskar going into A, which is the mother there, the sort of like the center of the world for their mythology. And then the prequel actually takes place in Nilar, which is to like the north and west of Bhaskar. A lot of things happen over there. So, I think I could have gone chronologically, but I wanted to write Rome and Sparrow more. And part of that was I felt closer to them, whereas with the characters in the prequel, they're not the typical characters that I write. And I do want to challenge a few more things, not just like with the writing itself, but as with like characters. So like the main character in that, and there are some name drops throughout this trilogy here to get you introduced to what could have happened and gone on back then. But the main character is more of an anti-hero, but also has some like with Rome has dark moments, but like I want to take it in like, I want to say mature, but not like adult fiction mature, but just more mature themes than most YA has. So I don't know. It's kind of, I know it's going to be harder for me to write, especially because I think I'm going to need like to go multi-POV on it, and it's going to be big. So getting this one, like I really wanted to write it, so that's why I started here, but I do have other book plans for the universe. Right, just right. And it depends if you mean experience, like I said, writing craft or in storytelling, which I do think is a valid thing. Like having more experience of telling a story in order to tell a better story is totally valid. Okay, got a couple more questions from the live stream this past week. From the Dawdling Writer again. Which character has the most style, and how do they express it? With like style immediately makes me think of like how do they dress and how do they present themselves. But with the world situation, like at least in Sun, people are pretty simple, wearing browns and grays, and their clothes get dirty from the mines and whatever work they do. Whereas in Eden, it's definitely more prosperous. They are able to show the difference in their status with their clothing, but it's still like you can only work with what's available and a lot of that production comes from Sun. So nothing too fancy, too crazy, but there is a character. Her name is Ophelia. She, not just like her style, because when she presents herself, she's like everything's where it needs to be. She's like an ice sculpture is how she's described at one point. But she's also very sure of herself. And in Eden, it's very much a patriarchalist society. And certain thoughts are, not taken as well. She used to be the assistant of one of the doctors there, but she wanted to work more with like the refugees, and her family history actually has a connection to like the natures and the Agi. So she's more open to different types of people, whereas where she was at was not so open. So she took it upon herself to go independent and, work with the refugees, keep practicing keep practicing medicine. It's the same thing. Keep practicing medicine, but she's doing like what she wants. And she, like I said, she's always like put together when she's presenting herself in Eden, like as the culture expects. But she knows she's in control and very confident. The only time we really see her, we do get a chance to see her like in her natural habitat of, her work where her hair is, not perfect. She's wearing a dirtied robe. So, we do get to see the other side of her, but I think style, she presents the most. And for some reason, I keep thinking of Onyx, which is another one of Rome's friends. It's just because he's always wearing a baggy jacket. Like, that's his thing. An oversized jacket that reaches past his hands. Yeah, I hope that's the style question we're asking for. Okie dokie. Which character would you be okay in quarantine with? And which one would you run out into the apocalypse to get away from? Like I said, Liam is my boy. We can, in this quarantine, we're going to like build a house, and we're going to be like probably the ones bringing in the people that need help in. We'll be fine. We got this. There's two characters that come to mind that Sparrow happened to run into. And one of them is the doctor's son, who, despite kind of being an outsider, like his family is definitely outside of Eden, and they're performing a service as doctors. Despite that, he's kind of in the mindset that like, oh, I was born in Eden. I'm better than all the refugees coming in. I don't need to deal with these nature users, or however, just looks down on everybody. And he's kind of in the role of, lying to himself. Like, he's the kid that, not to say anything against blondes, but like would dye their hair blonde to fit in with the blonde kids, which is not a totally inaccurate thing, because like I do picture the purist society as being very Aryan inspired. Just saying. Hello. Welcome back.
I'm here now.
I just got a couple more questions from our live stream the other night.
Alrighty.
Whew.
Oh my gosh.
And I realized I've been talking for a long time. Here's an editing question. What was an unexpected clutch word that you had to edit out?
I know mine.
I used a lot of facial expressions where I could have also used like actions, like, their eyes narrowed, or they hid their smile or something, like a lot of eyes and a lot of mouth things. So I had to kind of rework some of those. And then I used I didn't use it too much, but I used it enough that I was like, I used this like 4 times already. And it was drawing attention to, instead of saying like looked at or whatever. It was a very specific way of saying that. And I was just like, I said that like 5 times.
Yep.
Other clutch words.
Hold on. I'm going to come back in and out because my camera's just like all
okay.
jittery. 1 sec. I'm sorry.
Okay, I will think of clutch words while you do that.
I'm telling mine. Mine's nearly.
Oh, yes. Yes. She traumatized me with nearly. Which is probably why I adamantly didn't use it. Not too nothing else is really coming to mind at the moment. But when my editor went through, I was missing a lot of commas. So I've learned commas are a thing we still use.
Commas are in fact important.
Commas are commas.
Mm-hmm. But not too many commas.
Not too many. Don't make that run-on sentence. Commas. But do some commas.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Which character would you invite to a party of the century or the boss fight? I just cannot picture a party when thinking of these characters. It's almost unfathomable. Unfathomable.
Wait, what's his face? With Sparrow and Jenny?
Godric?
Yeah. Godric.
He would be like the host talking to everybody.
He knows how to have a good time.
I mean, but I feel like he would get pulled away by so many things because he has to. He's the butterfly.
I think the Boys of the Fourth could throw a banger though.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity.
But if we're going to a boss fight, I am taking Rome because I think he can do it. I believe in him.
You believe in him?
He will also just keep fighting when he should stop.
I'm taking Jenny's sister because I can just throw her at it. Get rid of her.
Here,
take this one.
Yes,
that's my.
Oh, but we already answered the last question, which was from beginning book idea to end publication, sending out books. What was your favorite, worst part, and what is your process for writing? So I've definitely talked about my process for writing quite a bit thus far. But actually, my favorite part was editing. And I think that's just because it wasn't not reading each line and putting in commas, but the finding the little parts to tweak to add that cookie crumb or ooh, now I know this thing about this character. I really want to put this in here. So the fleshing out editing was the best.
It's the moment of improvement where you go, I started here. Mm-hmm. I have a better way to do this. And then you see your own growth in real time.
Yeah. Editing is super enjoyable. When I first listened to my book on Edit Out Loud, there was that little because it's a little bit robotic, just a little bit, but it's still I get to hear my book. It was just so exciting. So I think that didn't really help much for editing because I was just enjoying the book.
Excited.
I was excited and I was just enjoying listening to it. I might have caught when a word was misspelled and I was he was supposed to say line, not live there or something. Mm-hmm. So it did help, but it was just kind of a yay moment. Least favorite is starting the writing of the ending because hard and ebook formatting.
Formatting sucks. Yes, I can concur with that. For me, it's middle of the book writing. Middle of the book is my most difficult moments.
Yeah, see, I don't struggle with the middle because I'm just doing that whole discovery thing where I'm still this is what we're doing. We're all going on an adventure. And then I'm shoot, climax is coming. Are we ready?
I usually know my I'm really good at beginnings because I can just get into it. And I'm really good at endings because I usually going into a story know exactly where I want this to lead. It's that middle part where I'm what?
We're both wearing red.
Hey!
Yay! We have almost the same shirt.
Same shade too, yeah.
Nice. See, we planned this.
Totally, this was completely planned. Totally. I re-dyed my hair red just for you too.
I'm wearing my reddish glasses. They're reddish on top. Yes. Alrighty. Ugh. I've answered so many questions. If there's anyone out there with questions, now's your chance.
Ask them now.
Because we hit the 2-hour mark, which is a very, very long
I think
time.
I missed some of the fun questions though.
Of
like, who would you do with this? Like along the lines of the party one.
I don't think I got too many of those. Like it was like, who do you relate to the most?
And I was gonna say Nuka, but you know.
I relate to the dog.
Yeah, me and the dog.
Mm-hmm.
We good.
Yeah. So
there was a lot of questions that they were popping up on your Facebook. I was reading, and I'd be like, Nuka. Nuka. Nuka.
I need my pups.
Pups
I
are
don't really
the
know
most
if
important
anyone's
characters.
been watching at this point, but I'll go for like 5-10 more minutes, and then we can do sprints if you want.
Sure. I got work to do.
Yeah, me too. I just hit 80K.
Woo! I just got home. And I'm trying to eat, and I made myself too much.
Oh, I have to also do that.
Which is like, I made a lot of curry.
Japanese curry?
Yes. And I made my own new version of it for me. Mm-hmm. So it's got meat and tofu and red peppers and green beans and cheese. And that's more.
And green beans. Interesting.
I put green beans in it, yes. Kokoichi's put green beans in theirs. When you ask for yasai topping.
Yes. Keep writing.
Yes, we will do sprints. Yeah, I definitely need
very
to
shortly. On Q's, we'll probably switch to Q's channel for the sprint, so it's not like an obnoxiously long tangent at the end of this.
Yeah, we can do that. Get it set up. Yeah, I definitely can't finish this. Oh no.
Yeah, you should be able to get it set up.
I'm gonna put this over here.
Let me see. Can I think of questions or things to say that are relevant?
I want to. Do you answer any questions about the cover?
Many.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did anyone ask you why that color scheme?
I think I went over it. Wasn't that directly, but I was like, blue and white is winter, and also there's an item that is blue and is very important in this book. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you already decided the color scheme for the sequel?
Yeah. Which is the white version of what I showed you instead of the black. So I'm still gonna go with that color. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna announce the title of book 2, that we can finally actually use it.
No more secrets.
I know. I wish I had like a sketch of the cover or something, but then I would just want it to be finished, so I wouldn't be satisfied. But the title for book 2 is, am I lined up? Den of Sparrows. Woo! I am so freaking excited because I had that title before I had Tower of Dogs. So excited. I'm formulating the concept for the cover art, which will just, it'll be pretty much similar layout, but different image kind of thing going on there. So I'm super excited to do that after I get this draft done. That's kind of my reward if I do it. You get to do the thing. So yes, Den of Sparrows, aka Project DOS/DOS, because it's number 2. Project DOS.
DOS.
Is in the works. If I get the draft done, best case scenario. So best case scenario, if I finish the draft, I might have a rough draft for beta readers March, April.
Okay. I'll put that in my schedule already.
Okay. Thank you.
Ready for it.
Yes. Because I'm about to write the ending scenes, and then because I already know I have to go back and flesh out. So instead of trying to write the rest linearly and struggle, because how do these 2 characters get together? I'm just writing the ending and then I'll figure it out. So.
Oh my God, I'm copying your links right now into because I'm making a stream so that we can start over there. And just seeing it is so exciting.
It's so exciting. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, let me say it enough times so it's out of my I am so excited.
And I just
I have not published. The last thing I published was in 2014. So it's been 8 years since I've published anything. You know, slightly different medium, but to get back into it and be like, yes, we're starting. Here's book 1. Book 2 is coming out, blah, blah, blah. Book 3 is right there. It feels so good to be back.
I'm thrilled because, like, for me as your friend and stuff, like, I've seen the journey of this book from when we met and stuff and where it was there and now what it is. And like, I see how long you've spent perfecting this and stuff. And for me, I'm like, oh my God, publish it. But, you know, but now it's real. And like, just seeing it as what it is and looking at it on Amazon, looking at it on Barnes & Noble. Like, I'm so jealous of your Barnes & Noble and the fact that you can get hardcover copies of it.
I mean, all you got to do is spread out that.
I know, it's in my mini goal. I got to do it.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Because it's not that bad. You just expand your regular cover with.
You know what I love even more right now? When you go on your Amazon page and it gives you recommended books like this.
Yeah.
It pulls up Mistborn.
Nice.
Immediately. And I'm like, yes. I mean, similar color scheme.
Right.
But I'm just like, can you imagine somebody clicking on Mistborn and then going, oh, what's this Tower of Dogs thing?
I know,
oh,
let's
like
get
that.
it.
Oh,
Let's
this
get
looks
it.
good. And they get it. And it's like, boom. I'm so excited for you.
And I'm excited because I like more than anything, more than whatever, like I don't expect to like make enough money to like support myself from this, but I cannot wait until people want to talk about it with me. Cause like even just the few beta readers that I had that I was able to talk with, I'm like, finally conversation. Like
we can talk,
which is another reason
now.
I just want like book 2 and book 3 out. So there's like, it's all out there. I can't spoil you. We can talk about the deep things.
Yay.
And the layers and the hidden cookie crumbs and all that, like
Easter eggs.
The stuff.
The stuff.
That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
But I'm also like low-key terrified that just for that first bad review. And I'm just like, it'll be okay. It's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody.
That's true.
It'll happen. But
or maybe everyone loves it forever and ever, and it's like the new big thing. And
I think the first, like, if a booktuber, like one of the ones that do reviews, when they review it, either of their own accord or it's recommended by somebody, I think that will be my like, do I watch it? Like.
Well, your book is officially eligible to be in Indie 2022 now. Just FYI. Oh, it means it's on Goodreads now, right?
Oh, I need to update.
I can include it now.
Do it.
Yay. I can say I've read this book.
Yes.
Yay.
I will have to do that maybe on a sprint.
Yes.
Is connect all that.
It's Goodreads.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh. Here comes
a puffer.
Both.
Dun, da, da, da. Hello.
The puppers have returned.
Hi, babies.
Hello. How do I make it just us and the? Oh there darn, that doesn't work.
How do you make it just you?
But I know how to make it just me. That's puppies.
You can take me off. It's fine. If you need full screen puppies, I'm good.
Oh, it is time to go outside. Are you happy, bud? If you're happy and you know it, He doesn't even let me get through the whole song because he just doesn't stop.
We just hear howl and we go.
Oh. Oh,
Mom, love me.
I am loving you.
Love me closer. Even
I
more.
think this was the defining moment of switching screens. Thank you all, whoever's watched this, whoever joined in this stream. I really appreciate all your questions. Hopefully I have answered to the best of my abilities. The puppies need me now. So in a little bit, you may start it a little early, but we're going to do...
I've scheduled it for on the half hour, just in case.
Okay.
So, let puppies out.
Stop.
My channel, and
Stop. I love you too.
Ask questions about Paula's amazing book there as well. And everything that's so awesome about Tower of Dogs.
Help.
Because I wasn't here for the beginning of the stream, so I was at work, and I have words.
Help.
And those words are usually amazing.
Okay, really though, I need to finish this, and then I'll put you outside. Okay. Yes. So honestly, genuinely, I appreciate you guys checking this out. And I'll see you guys in the sprints with Q. Feel free to leave any questions below. Check out Tower of Dogs, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and then it's like a whole bunch of ebook things like Kobo, the Apple Store.
Yeah.
Hoopla, Overdrive. Yeah. Did you know that? Did you know that? Yeah, if you release with Draft to Digital, you can get it on. It was pre-ordered, so I don't know if like the library has to get it first or how that works. I don't know how anything works right now.
I'm gonna look in my library and see if they got it. I mean, it just released, but you know.
I mean, it's probably like not there yet, if anything. But
okay, it's not there.
It is available.
Request it.
So check it out.
You
can read the first 4 chapters on my website. Yeah. Thank you. I think I should sign off now. Puppies need me. Alrighty. Bye. Where's the button?
Now you know why I do that long.
Oh, shit. I didn't look. Sorry. I'm still